This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
What makes a great pair of glasses? At Warby Parker, it's all the invisible extras without the extra cost. Their designer quality frames start at $95, including prescription lenses, plus scratch-resistant, smudge-resistant, and anti-reflective coatings, and UV protection, and free adjustments for life. To find your next pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to find the Warby Parker store nearest you, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.
This is Optimal Work Daily. How to Judge Yourself and Others Less by Stephen Warley of LifeSkillsThatMatter.com. How many times do you think you judge yourself or other people in a day? Earlier this year, I decided to do a 30-day experiment to observe how and why I judge myself and others. I started the experiment by first bringing awareness to each time I judged myself or another person, even in my own thoughts. During my first day, I could barely keep up with all my judgmental thoughts, actions, and statements. At times, I felt as if the majority of my thoughts were judgy. It was as if my brain was scanning for opportunities to judge, and it was, as I would discover later on in my experiment. Observations about my judging behavior. I have to admit, after a month of observing how and why I judge, it was hard not to judge myself for being so judgy. Here are the key observations I made. I misjudged how often I judge. There wasn't an hour that went by that my brain didn't want to judge something. My judgy behavior said more about me than the people or actions I judged. Reframing my perspective about why I judged helped me learn a ton about myself. I was classifying people according to my personal standards and what I believed was the only right way to behave. Remember, the only right way is the right way for you. More of my judgy thoughts than I care to admit were petty and would be hurtful if I said them out loud. I'm way more concerned about my appearance than I realized. When I judge, it's not the truth. I'm just making assumptions. Comparing myself to others is a default measure of success that only makes me feel bad about myself. And my brain is kind of a jerk. Oops, I just judged myself. Ugh, am I really a horrible, insecure, needy, and weak person? Nope. I'm just being human like the rest of us. Why I did this experiment. I'm constantly seeking ways to conserve my limited energy so I can use it with maximum impact. I work for myself, after all, and I want to make the best use of my energy. I had a sneaking suspicion that my judging behavior was a drain on my energy because it's a negative, low-vibe form of energy. I wanted to put a stop to it. For clarification, when I use the term judge, I'm referring to making a comparison between my behavior and the behavior of another person. I'm either judging them against myself or vice versa. When I use the term judgment, I'm referring to making a comparison between my behavior and my values. I'm using my values as the standard of comparison and not the behavior or values of another person. How do you know if you're judging? Ask yourself, would I say this out loud to the person I'm judging? And if you're judging yourself, ask, would I ever say this to one of my friends or family members? As you might have experienced, constantly comparing yourself to others or judging them against your standards is a huge energy drain. It's a major downer. Yet it's one of the most common behaviors I see among the people I'm trying to help work for themselves. They can't help but constantly compare their progress against other solopreneurs. Even if it temporarily makes you feel good about yourself, you're getting that ego boost at the expense of another person. I've realized living life in alignment with your values requires significantly less energy. You'll never feel enough when you compare yourself to others. You can feel your fullest self when you realize you're already enough. How to judge more effectively. The first step to judging less is recognizing we are hardwired to judge. That's right, you're born to judge. Back in our hunter-gatherer days, making snap judgments was key to our survival. Giving our trust or respect to someone else was often a life and death decision. We had to constantly scan our environment for threats, and we worried about getting kicked out of our tribe for not measuring up. In our present existence, we're not under constant threat, so we have the choice to choose how we judge. When we let our brain fire off judgments with abandon, we get distracted. We waste our limited attention and energy. Do you really want to waste your attention on judging someone's outfit, or redirect it back to focusing on growing your business? Here are some recommendations on how to judge more effectively. Number 1, bring awareness to each time you judge to understand what you can learn from your default judging behavior. What do you judge frequently? Why do you think you do it? Number 2, learn about yourself when you make a judgment. Ask yourself, if I had to get real honest with myself, what is this really saying about what I want to change about myself? Number 3, when you compare yourself to others, remind yourself to compare your behaviors or accomplishments against your core values instead. Sure, lots of people around you are successful, but is their version of success going to make you happy? Number 4, conserve your limited energy and attention to focus on improving your life and work instead of focusing on others. Leo Tolstoy once said, quote, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing themselves," end quote. And number 5, when you judge, you make an assumption. Test your assumptions by asking questions so you don't miss opportunities. Don't judge yourself for judging. We all do it, but use it to your advantage to conserve your energy and to learn more about yourself as you build your business. You just listened to the post titled How to Judge Yourself and Others Less by Stephen Warley of lifeskillsthatmatter.com.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
And thank you to Stephen for giving us permission to narrate from his blog, and you can come visit his site, which I have linked in the episode's description, as well as at oldpodcast.com. He started Life Skills That Matter in 2016 to show you how work is changing as you know it and how you can change work to your advantage. He's been working for himself since getting laid off on Election Day 2000, and he is obsessed with researching and experimenting with alternative ways of working. Stephen now makes enough money to live the life that he wants to live without losing his mind from overworking. He also has a podcast where he has interviewed over 500 people who have made that transformation to self-employment. It's called Life Skills That Matter Podcast, and you can also find that on his site, lifeskillsthatmatter.com. But I think that does it for today. I thank you so much for being a subscriber to the show. Really helps us out. And I will see you right back here tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.